The iconic T-Rex is one of the deadliest predators of all time. Its powerful predator jaws contain over 60 thick, bone-shattering teeth and bite force that is enough to crush a car.
Well folks, as some of us predicted after that double Rex picture from last night, Tyrannosaurus Rex is indeed the species field guide / species profile for this week. And whilst we don't learn anything new per se, which I think is probably going to be a consistent thing now until the end, until the game comes out, what we do see are some incredible animations, really top-notch stuff, and of course our best look at the Rex yet, and no better than in this very first frame, with this roaring Rex really filling up the screen, with little white Rex in the distance, well, probably a normal sized white Rex, it's just further away, that's how it works, walking by a lovely little rock. I really like the habitat, first of all, that sunken sort of pool on the left hand side looks really nice, again emphasising that sort of more natural approach to exhibit design we'll have in the game, but this really does show how much better Rex looks. Some people will keep telling you that the Rex hasn't changed, those people are wrong. The Rex looks a lot better. Just look at you'd expect it. This is now a next-gen game as well as a current-gen game. It's an Xbox Series X game or a PS5 game, etc. But it's the Rex's head that really stands out here with what we're looking at. The level of detail, each individual scale, all, catching and reflecting in the light. It really looks intricate and it really looks well, beautifully textured. And up close we can see indeed that they are using the same skin, this kind of mottled red, blood red striping down the back. But this is such a good animation. This is of course another brand new animation. The two Rexes battling with each other, towing to and fro. White Rex knocks Brown Rex to the right and then Brown Rex sort of knocks it back. They separate for a second. White Rex thinks it's won the battle, thinks it's proven its dominance. Just for a moment they kind of just sit there, about to head off, and then Brown Rex, no, not about that life, smacks back into it and tilts it off to the side. I really like seeing this kind of thing. Again, this is the kind of animation that I'm praying that there's just loads of variety, loads of different versions of this in the game for different species. I could see maybe a few of the other large theropods also using the same animation, but it does feel quite Rexy in the way that the Rex is so bulky and thick in a way that a lot of the other large theropods aren't, that it really suits the Rex to kind of nudge and barrel its way forward in this kind of way. And it's just fantastically well done. It's natural, you can feel the weight of the creatures. You can see as the white Rex knocks it to the right, just watch the feet of the white Rex on the right as it nudges the first time. You can see it kind of, in order to get the power, it brings its left foot forward to the left and then brings its right foot forward in the same direction. And then because it's got both feet together, it's off balance. You can see that both feet are on the wrong side of the body, so it very quickly shifts its left leg and its left foot to the other side of the body to stabilize itself for the dominance display. That might not seem like a big deal, but it is actually a really nicely worked, well-considered animation very clearly. They're actually taking into account how this animal would move to both have the strength it needs, but also to retain balance. And, standing like that would be off balance, so it needs to quickly adjust itself. I'm assuming this is indeed a dominance display and not part of the combat. It'll be something like the Coelophysis one we saw, where one walks past the other and they kind of snap and snarl at each other. But it is a fantastic animation. I'm going to put these final two together because they're very much intended to be of the same thing. And of course this is a reference to the Lost World Jurassic Park, as many of you have noticed. This poor person will now be referred to as Eddie. He's sitting in their little Jeep thingamajiggy. The Rex is emerging from the tree line behind them, one on either side. Now it's worth mentioning this is what you would call a bull shot. This is likely, let's say likely, it's like 90+% I would say. And a bull shot is essentially a screenshot or a video that's been made to look better than you're likely to experience it in the game, if that makes sense. That's not to say this won't happen. You could, in theory, put a Rex there, park your car in the middle, and they may well do this thing. What I'm suggesting is that this probably isn't a set behaviour. This probably isn't a regimented behaviour to both emerge together on either side of a vehicle. That would be awesome. I would really, really like that. But it seems very, very unlikely. But it is a really cool reference. You can really get a sense of the scale and the size of the Rex in comparison to the vehicle. It actually makes them look really intimidating in a way that the dinosaurs in this game and the Rex itself often isn't. The Rex wasn't a particularly intimidating dinosaur in Evolution 1, but here in this setting, I'd love it to be raining at nighttime as well. That would be extra cool, but obviously they want to make sure they can show off the dinosaurs pretty well. But here with them both looking at the car, which is something they will do. Dinosaurs in this game, hell, dinosaurs in the first game, did note things, other dinosaurs, vehicles, etc., and would pay attention to them. And then of course it finishes with the White Rex having a little roar by the window, just, you know, showcasing those big old teeth. Again, something that isn't impossible to see in your game. Is this a set ideal where they'll see the vehicle and then roar by the window? Probably not, but you can park next to a T-Rex and hope it does a roar. I think a lot of us have probably done that in the past. It's a nice up close look at the Rex, which I really do think looks better. The kangaroo posing seems to be gone. The model quality is just a little bit closer to that original Rex, which hopefully means we get less ILM, original movie Rex mods, because there's about 10 billion of the blimmin' things. Either way, that is it for the video itself. Not much to say, as I say, just talking about how, God, that middle animation, top quality. We're going to go check out the forums, but there's very little information there, but just worth a quick read. Let's go check it out. So let's check out the forum post. T-Rex are pretty aggressive, yeah, and not terribly sociable, so you won't have to worry too much about making sure they have lots of company in their enclosures. Do keep in mind that they'll need both some sand and forest terrain in their habitats, so it's important to consider this when planning your parks. Not a big deal, we've seen sand requirements in the past. It is interesting, obviously I'm expecting T-Rex to have a low population limit and a low social limit. Maybe a 3 at a push. It does seem that they are able to handle 2 by default. In the last game that took a little bit of genetic modification or patches, etc. On launch you could only have 1 T-Rex, is my point. But we've seen so much content showcasing 2 T-Rexes, it would be very weird if you couldn't have 2 T-Rexes. I suspect their social limit will be 1 to 2, but we'll have to see. As carnivores, you're going to want to make sure they have plenty of fresh meat available. Trust us, you don't want unhappy, hungry T-Rexes on your hands. Why has no one come out with a board game called Hungry Hungry T-Rexes, by the way, instead of Hungry Hungry Hippos? I'd be all over that. Maybe that's a thing. I'm going to Google it. Anyways, so as we saw in the gameplay demo the other week, and not talked about too much, but animals now have it's not really a hunting need per se, it's more a meat need, essentially. And a regular meat feeder provides 1 of your meat feed. Now, T-Rex being this large aggressive carnivore probably needs maybe a 3, a 4, a 5, something like that, one of those high numbers. And a goat provides more of that need than a regular meat feeder. So, you know, that kind of, whilst you could in theory just put meat feeders absolutely everywhere, in theory I believe, it's going to make goats more efficient, and that makes it more suitable to those larger predators that are hungrier and want to hunt a little bit more. It's an interesting little system that will push people in the right direction, essentially. We're incredibly excited to be able to share T-Rex with you. We couldn't possibly imagine Jurassic World Evolution 2 without including this iconic dinosaur. Yeah, I mean, it'd be weird, wouldn't it? Just imagine they randomly cut T-Rex from Evolution 2. We think both you and your guests will enjoy including them in your parks. Will you be bioengineering them for yours? No. Let us know in the comments. And that is it from me. Definitely not anything new, but one of the coolest species field guides, just in terms of showcasing some awesome dinosaur behaviors. That middle animation is going right up there on my top animation list. Very, very cool stuff. Until the next time, thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully this video bloody works. YouTube is having a fit today. Cheers much as always. Bye-bye.